Welcome back, everyone. We have a really lovely little 1v1 plan here for you with some High Elves versus Beastmen action. So let's get down to brass taxes here. I'm actually going to have to pause it because we got such an early game engagement going on. Or, you know what, we'll be fine. Maybe we'll be fine. No, we'll pause it. So we're dealing with two Illyrian Reaver archers here, backed up by two Illyrian Reavers. Now, these are easily some of the best fast cav in the game. The ability for the Illyrian Reavers to have a whopping 90 speed and be able to catch up to the majority of everything on the battlefield makes them for extremely deadly opponents. In addition to that, the Illyrian Reavers on their own can actually trade quite well with Centaurs. So you kind of have to be very mindful of them when you are playing Beastmen up against a whole cadre of Illyrian Reavers. Now, the Illyrian Reaver archers, as you guys well know, are again some of the best fast cav in the game. You have 700 point investment here. They're extremely fast at 90 speed, and they're able to fire whilst moving. So it makes them extremely deadly on the battlefield. You can get out any kind of early stalking units, anything on the battlefield that's really going to be a threat to your army. As you're playing against greenskins, it's a great way to kind of bait out. Oh, look at that guy, like Mel Gibson. It's a great way to kind of bait out those initial goblin rusty errors. Now, the rest of our line is comprised of Swordmasters of HOOVES, really great units here in this matchup. You've got that anti-infantry, you've got that AP, and you have a really stalwart unit because you have a whopping 90 armor in addition to that. So 90 armor, 90 speed with the Illyrian Reavers. There's 90s everywhere. Now, in addition, we also have the lovely Scions of Mothlon here. Now, these guys are really good because they do have... boom. Aura of Protection, which is a 12% damage resistance buff here. This is, of course, everything in that aura right there, as you can see. If I can get it to actually like stay on the actual unit. There we go. So this gives us a really nice little buff, really good area effect on this. So you putting this in the center of a line can actually have a really good effect. In this case, we were just flanked here with two Spearmen, the Scions of Mothlon, and over here. Then we have a pretty strong choice here with a Star Dragon. Really great terror. It's going to have some really good strong breath attacks. It's going to be a terror on the battlefield for any kind of Cygor, any kind of Minotaur unit, because it's just really going to be able to waffle stomp everything it comes across. Then lastly, we have the hair-flicking queen herself, Alarielle. Her model is very bugged in this case, but... there we go, Alarielle. Now, Alarielle is a really competitive pick for majority of high elf builds because you have the access to so much healing with her. You've got Star of Avalorn, you've got Earthblood, and then you've got, oh my god, the ability, I can't, there it is, well, just Earthblood. But all this on top of the fact that she has access to Shield of Sapphire, granting her damage resistance, and Life Bloom, which anytime she casts a spell, helps out with additional hit point regeneration. So you have so much healing coming out from her that you can really kind of keep a battle line going. So let's kind of see how this engagement here goes. Our enemy does have two units of Centaurs, with the Sons of Goros here being the Great Weapon variant here. These guys are really strong. They do tons of damage, especially if you're up against any kind of undead, vampire counts, Tomb Kings. These guys are very strong because they do have magic attacks. In addition to that, they do have some Chaos Warhounds with poison. And a front line here consisting of a lot of Ungors, some Gores here, but they have the Blackhorn Ravagers, which are a Gore Horde with shields. Then two units of Gore Herds with shields on the left and right flank. Then Ungor Raiders in the back, supported with a Bray Shaman of Beasts. And then lastly, two units of Minotaurs, but the most important of them all, the Butchers of Kalkengard. Now, these guys are very, very, very strong. They have 110 weapon strength. They have an AP just through the roof. I mean, these guys are just really the beaters of the world. They cause terror. They have Blood Greed here, which is an ability on all Minotaurs, but this increases their leadership, their speed, and makes them immune to psychology. So they're very, very, very furious on the battlefield because you have a Beastman army that doesn't really have great leadership, right? So you have Minotaurs as the ability to kind of anchor your line in the sense that they can actually stay into combat a lot longer than other Beastman units. Now, of course, you have the Morgr Shadowgrave. Now, he is a very, very deadly pick because he is just so tanky. You can summon up your Chaos Spawns, and he has to be in combat to have his cudgel, whatever the hell it is, his staff. I can actually focus in on it. There we go. Stave of Ruinous Corruption. You have to be within combat for this to recharge. So having that is always a very strong ability because he can wade through so much damage. So let's get this fight going here. We already have an early engagement here on the left flank as our Illyrian Reavers kind of screen out the charges here. However, our Illyrian Reavers going directly into these Centaurs with Great Weapons. The Centaurs with Great Weapons are going to be a better, harder to counter to a larger, more armored unit like a Dragon Prince or a Silver Helm. Against Illyrian Reavers, it's not a great trade for them. As you can see, Reaver Archers just pouring on. They're already at 50%, but you've got a really, you know, three-pronged attack here with the Sons of Goros. You've got those Chaos Warhounds with poison kicking in there, and we're getting those Illyrian Reaver Archers on there, or Reavers, just to kind of help support their bros. We have got an Earthblood triggered off on them. A little bit too late here, though, because they're already starting to buckle and start hopefully retreat. Well, hopefully. I'm the high elves, but I want that to be a hopeful. But they will slowly here be retreating. Now, we went with Alarielle, the Radiant, on a Great Eagle. As you hear that thing just screeching, because it allows you to really get a chance to be mobile on the battlefield. There's not a lot that's going to really threaten you in the Beastmen army, aside from that feral manticore. But at a Star Dragon, that thing's just going to swat the thing out of the air, no questions asked. And of course, this is a summoned feral manticore, so you can see it's slowly starting to grade off the battlefield. We have both of our Illyrian Reaver Archers aimed at our Sons of Goros. So Sons of Goros are a little bit harder of a counter to our rest of our army, so we want to get them done with quickly. Rampage already triggering off on that feral manticore, preventing it from doing a ton of damage, bringing our Star Dragon in here to try and do some damage to kind of subvert that feral manticore. We're doing some charging across the way here, though, right? We're trying to get these Swordmasters of Hoeth into combat as they sloppily charge through Spearmen. Let's pretend I didn't show you guys that, and let's do that instead. But you do want to make sure you are doing charges across the line. You're not just letting your guys get charged. You want to make sure you charge simultaneously. That way you both get your charge bonuses kicking off here. Getting these Spearmen engaged with these Ungor Raiders. Let's get this charge in here. Oh, yeah. Look at those Minotaurs just charging in. Hooves and horns all over the place, bucking and going wild. Now, the great thing here, again, with that Star Dragon, take a look here real quick at the battlefield. Make sure you guys can actually see everything. We have been able to kind of really negate that feral manticore with Alarielle the Radiant, as well as actually both those Illyrian Reaver Archers. The big thing with those Illyrian Reaver Archers is that you can move them out of combat quite quick and get them to shoot back into combat again quite quick. So you have a lot of mobility with those Reaver Archers. Beasts kicking off across the way. We have some Chaos Spawns summoned up here. Our Dragon starting to swoop down. Now, big things with Dragons, you can tell right here, Star of Avalorn kicking off on those Swordmasters, try and keeping them in the fight. If they do run out of that star, it's bad news bears for me, but at the same time, it's a really good, really strong, concerted heal. One kind of fact I wanted to mention here, as we watch our the Sons of Goros kind of chase these Illyrian Reaver Archers here. This was intended. I put these guys on skirmish as soon as this happened, trying to pull them out of the rest of the fight. If they can neutralize 2 700 points arm units versus the rest of their one regiment renown and 1 unit here, that's a little bit better of a trade for me. Now, with Dragons, you want to make sure you're constantly attacking a unit. You can see on that charge, it got sloppy because it decided to kind of subvert and go towards the Butchers of Kalkengard, which was the intended target. But, you know, if the banner was over here, it kind of negated a little bit of its charge on his bonus and went all over the place. You want to make sure you're always clicking repeatedly with your Dragons to keep them on target. Otherwise, they run the risk of just kind of going willy-nilly all over the place. Again, that Dragon's tail whipping about. We have Alarielle the Radiant going after that Bray Shaman there. You could look at that, though, just beating him around. The Doom Pigeon just has no regard for human life or beast life. Man, look at that Dragon just kind of wading through things. Trying to get it back up in the air here, though. Trying to get some additional damage from those breath attacks. We haven't used a single breath attack yet. So we want to be able to do some damage to the enemy. The enemy, though, has beaten down these 2 units of Swordmasters of Hoeth. We have 1 unit left. Scions of Mothfon doing good damage there with those Ungor Spearmen, but they are pretty much locked up here. Their damage resistance would be better used in this blob. A really deadly charge coming in here, though. That Star Dragon needs to get back up in the air quickly, or else it's going to be in a really bad situation here. We have Alarielle, who has chased off the Bray Shaman to a good effect here. That's kind of neutralizing a little bit of their winds and magic usage. Unfortunately, these Spearmen have now routed. The Swordmasters of Hoeth have now routed, so this is not looking too good for me. But we do have some Illyrian Reaver Archers in the background, some Swordmasters coming back, getting Alarielle onto these Ungor Raiders. Ungor Raiders are not the most deadly of units, but you know, little damage over time, that does add up. So shutting them down is crucial, because these Ungor Raiders were adding little bits of damage to this Star Dragon, even though it was broken. So we wanted to really try and negate that, get that thing back online, get it up in the air, line up a breath attack so you can get more value out of your Star Dragon. You want to make sure you're getting those breath attacks out. Now that unfortunately wasn't the best breath attack, but there's not many clumped up units here. Any damage coming out of them is better than nothing. And you can see that for the most part, this looks like a very done deal, right? We have 5 minutes left in the fight, though. Balance of power is very much not in my favor. You know, nothing's over until it's over, which is a saying that someone important said. As Alarielle swoops down, just ripping up those Ungor Raiders, trying to do any damage they can. They cannot do a substantial amount of damage to her with their little puny bows, but again, damage over time does matter in this game, which is, at the end of the day, Total War Warhammer is a game of attrition. And if you can knock a unit down 10% in one volley, or in repeated volleys, that 10% is going to come back at the end of the game and hopefully be that 10% that unit wasn't able to hold on and thus dies. So you do have to really be mindful of even units that are not a huge threat, neutralizing them, trying to negate any damage that is coming your way. Got those Scions of Mothlan coming in, trying to kind of make one last bastion here. We have some Winds of Magic, we have another Star of Avalorn charge, I believe, and I think we have another Earthblood we can use. So trying to get everyone together here to get some healing done is going to be huge, as we have quite the Beastmen horde ahead of us. 2 units of Minotaurs charged just recklessly downhill. Or, oh! Alarielle just charged right into those Ungor Raiders. Oh, look at this valiant defense here. Oh, yes. Right as those Minotaurs come charging in, knocking the Scions of Mothlan all over the place. Dragon coming in, swooping down, trying to get some damage in here. Star of Avalorn kicking off. Now, it's important here, we want to keep these units centered in that Star of Avalorn. Do not let any units that are willingly or can chase out of it. They will lose the benefit of that buff, of that heal. They want to stay into it. Getting her up on those Ungor Raiders. Risky charge here, though. We've got 2 very furious, very roided out Minotaurs who are ready to just stick Alarielle with a roids pen and make her jacked up. Whatever I'm trying to say. Well, now, Star of Avalorn has brought our Scions of Mothlan pretty much to full health, but they are getting a pretty devious wrap around here with those Ungors. With shields, with little axes. We do have a whole unit, well, about a half unit of Blackhorn Ravagers. These guys here. They are a little bit stronger than your normal Gore herd, but they do have Primal Fury, which increases their melee attack, their speed, just like all the other rest of the Beastmen units. But on top of it, they have, where is it? There it is. Rowdy, which helps with their leadership, and it makes it so they really don't, with their perfect vigor, they can stand the fight a lot longer. Everything is surrounded here. We're in bad shape. But take a look at this, guys. Morgor Shadowgrave. We're just keeping that Sun Dragon on Morgor. Got to keep him on Morgor, because if we can topple that leadership, it puts us in a very, very good position here, right? If we can just get him down out of that fight, it means that we will finally be able to break the back of the Beastmen, because without that leadership, they really don't stand much of a chance against a gigantic, terror-causing beast such as the Star Dragon. But we do have to be mindful. Those Minotaurs are immune to psychology. As you can see, already getting some routing action going on here. Morgor's in terrible health. He is shattered now. He is off the battlefield. We no longer have to worry about him rallying. But our Scions of Mothlan are in bad shape. We have a rally unit of Spearmen that is coming from the rear guard. Trying to just get any kind of charges we can. Alarielle, the Star Dragon, what can we do to kind of keep this together? So really kind of like holding on to our last scale and pigeon wing here. But everything we can do here. Alarielle's still in pretty good health. The Star Dragon is in pretty bad shape here. So everything, it's down to like these final last just kind of hits. Doing some kind of pivotal charging in here. Doing whatever we can. Trying to break them out of the combat here. Get those cycle charges in. If you can cycle charge in this last fight, just like we saw with the Everchosen 2, right? Getting cycle charges in, even when you're down like this, can really be the thing that puts you back in the game. It's not a done deal until, again, it is a done deal. So you have to try and keep anything you can online to keep you fighting. I'm going to take a breath. I feel like I've been talking for a lot longer than I wanted to straight. But trying to path that Star Dragon up and back up into the sky, using Alarielle to, again, just keep those Ungor Raiders pinned down, bring that Star Dragon back around. Oh, no! Now, those Chaos Warhounds with poison, that poison is really going to have a huge effect. Alarielle's leadership is tanking. She is in bad shape. Can we get that Star Dragon over here in time? Can we do something to help out the Mistress of Avalorn? Trying to get a breath attack out. Ripping through the side, just missed. If that thing had been a little bit more on target, it would have been pivotal. But right now, Alarielle's in bad shape. And I think with losing the mighty Mistress, the Everqueen herself, we will see the loss as she shatters, and we lose, and through army losses, the loss of our High Elves against Beastmen. Now, unfortunately, I did lose this one, but I felt like it was such a fun replay. I definitely wanted to show it to you guys. I went with a build that's very unique to me because I typically go a little bit wider, a little bit less on the micro when it comes to skirmish cab, but I feel like it played out for me. Glorious Feeder is a great player, and he capitalized really well here. He was able to keep those Minotaurs in the fight the entire time, netting them 125 kills between the two of them, which is great return. Then between those two, or the two Senegors, was 141 kills, which is great. Majority of those kills, though, were against my skirmish cav, so that did kind of play a little bit more to my favor. If I were to change this build, it would probably be dropping 2 units of Swordmasters, adding in actually White Lions of Trace, and maybe even another unit of Spearmen. I wouldn't have gone with Archers in this build because the Beastmen have access to very cheap shielded units, and in addition to that, they have very great harassment and strong backline pressure. So as High Elves, if you have too much backline pressure, you can be in a world of hurt fast. So some great play here from Glorious Feeder. Thank you so much for playing with me, man. 78 kills from the Lady of Averlorn herself, diving deep into those raiders. 132 kills from our Star Dragon, really kind of being the MVP of this fight for my army. But as always, guys, hope you enjoyed this little quick battle here. We've got another one coming out here shortly after. But if you have any questions about this build, have any comments about it, anything like that, please go ahead and comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, check out my Patreon, all that kind of cool action. Thanks so much for watching here today, guys. Have a good one, and take care.